Hi, I am here with wonderful nature painter, landscape painter, Sinead Ni. You told me how to spell it properly. Ni Chionaola.
Chionaola, yeah, very good.
Chionaola.
Sinead Ni Chionaola, yeah, yeah. It's
Thank
a hard
you.
one for everybody, so don't worry about it.
And I grew up in Ireland, but I didn't really learn Irish very well. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know you have the Irish spelling, and I know that Ni is like everyone thinks that the Irish surnames are O'Brien or
Yeah,
O, but that
yeah,
is son of, and Ni is daughter of. Is that
that's it.
correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the Chionaola is actually my mother shortened it. It was a longer version. And Cion is head of, and Éala, it's a like it should be FH, so it should be a deer. So it's head of the deer. So maybe it's like my spiritual animal or something. I don't know. I haven't totally looked into it, but and then the daughter of, but yeah. So
Thank
that's
you.
it. Yeah. So my brother would be he would be the son of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't
Thank
get
you.
me started on Max and the rest of them. I don't understand those ones myself. Mac is a
Yeah,
son of
Mac is also son, but it's different.
the
That's
daughters would
literally
have that.
son of rather than
Yeah.
of the tribe or of the group. I think they're slightly different
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they mean, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And both my parents would have been Irish speakers. My grandparents were both teachers on both sides. So there was, there's all that kind of historical, cultural, I suppose, teaching in imparting information to somebody else in the family.
Thank you. And it's really beautiful. It's particularly interesting in Ireland because of the way that the culture was the continuity of the culture was broken or twisted by the outlawing of the Irish language when it was occupied by the British, right? So a lot of the culture really survived amongst the people that were native Irish speakers, and there weren't that many of them within a generation. It was really severed in a lot of
Yeah,
places.
well, people saw English as being the new way forward. Irish was what kept you in the ditch, basically, and to get on and to get a job, English was the way to go forward. But there's a huge revival now in Ireland with the primary school Gael schools, So
Yeah, I'm really glad. It's a very beautiful, it's a very poetic language.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of, the native Irish poetry is really beautiful. I wish I knew it better.
Oh, even though I'm a daily speaker of it, I wish I knew it better as well. Leah Falofa, as my mother calls it. I can speak it quickly, but would be a lot of mistakes, grammar mistakes, and fathers and shehus and everything. So they're very caught up in that, the language, the correctness of it.
And for those that don't know, the fathers, what you mentioned, they are accents, like in French, the way
Yeah,
they have a variety of accents that change the pronunciation of the
yeah,
vowels.
yeah.
Irish has also, it has a lot of, to the non-Irish speaker, it has a lot of what seem very strange letters. It has a different alphabet, and the way the letters change the meaning of the words and the
Oh God, yeah.
meaning of the sentences
Mhm.
is very different to
Mm.
English, to either Latin-based or German-based languages. It's
Yeah,
very different
yeah, yeah.
structurally. It's
But
very
then you
different.
do see similarities of words like garden and Gardine, Jardin. You see the similarities of words through the languages as well.
Yeah.
And then the father would be like Kieran. It's the Kieran in English, but Kieran it makes it longer, father.
Yeah.
In the Irish. So
And
yeah.
you can quite often work out what's an Irish word in the English language if it ends in "een," like smithereen. "Een" at the end of a word in Irish means the diminutive version. It's a small version
Yeah,
of something.
yeah.
So when
Shame.
you come across a word like smithereen, usually that is like something that's been made small. I know a few things I know, but we won't talk about the Irish language for too long, even though I am also a poet, because Sinead, you can see some of your paintings in the background. You're
Yeah.
a really beautiful, you mainly paint landscapes and nature?
Yeah, I have dabbled with figurative stuff over the years. But I have to say my comfort zone really is in painting the landscapes and painting the colors and just the vibrancy of it. And even when I'm like looking at statements and writing about my work, what's come across to me over the last while is over my travels that I've gone on, you know, and been in Australia, and I just, over these last few years, I just wanted to get a sense of what my work was about. And for me, it feels like it's like pursuing of these kind of energies and connections between the ancestral lands. And sometimes this seems to have come through in my work unbeknownst to me. What was it I wanted to say? That like the constant, the real, like these real and imagined landscapes that I see in my head. So some of them might be quite real, like the two up there beside it. But then when I let myself go and, you know, I follow, you know, the paint, this other kind of a spirit comes into it. The one that I have better pictures of those I can show you in a second.
We'll look at those in a while. But
yeah.
Would you say that the other ones are more like your felt version of the landscape, what you feel rather than what you see?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm working on a commission at the moment, and someone said to me, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I have no idea." You know, I went up there yesterday, and I just drew, and I drew. I was just drawn to this tree. You know, so that's the starting sketch from you know, yesterday morning. I did a lot of line drawing up there, and then I.
So, can you tell us what blind drawing is? Because this is the other thing I want to talk about as we go through a bit about your process, because I know you do go out in the space and draw outside in the space. But
So
what, for people that don't know, what's blind drawing?
So this one was it's, you know, there's a bit of blind drawing and seeing as well. It means that you look at what you're drawing. So my sheet of paper is here, but I'm covering my sheet of paper and I'm just looking at what I'm drawing. And it's very good for those of us who may have grown up with some kind of a idea of I can't draw, or would be, you know, worried about it, or it's not good enough, or it's not realistic, or whatever. So for me, it takes the pain out of trying to capture it, and I feel that it captures more of the essence of the piece and the fluidity and the movement. Like I sat yesterday and I did one sketch after the other, blind drawing, and I just got this like words of connection, movement, just, you know, it's the connection is unreal because you're so present with it. You're just there in that moment and you're present with the work rather than
so your eyes are looking at the thing and experiencing it coming in, and then it's coming out through your hand without you also looking down and checking what the hand's doing. It's a direct circuit, so to speak.
It is a direct circuit, absolutely. And the brain is kind of disengaged in a way, in that you can't think, oh, this is wrong. There's nothing wrong about it.
You're not trying in any way.
No. And it's very concentrated at the same time. So if you stop following the line like an ant that you're following, you will lose you have to stop and you have to start another one. So
that's really interesting. Thank you so much.
I came home then and I finished this. This has been on the go since about April. Now I have another bit to go on it. I have my feeder group, you know, my two children. And they come in and they say, oh yeah, I think you could do another bit there, or that might work here. They're brilliant, like, and
that's great.
The younger one used to always say, oh no, Mammy, they're lovely, you know, they're really lovely, you don't need to do anything. And the older one would say, no, you missed a bit there, or whatever. Now both of them are doing it, and I love it because it's pure honesty. They have nothing to gain or lose out of it, but they're also being able to find their own voice and how to.
They're learning to look as well.
Yeah, learning to look.
They're learning to look.
So so I really enjoy that. And then when they have friends around, or any of my friends come around, they all have to get dragged into the studio to have a look. So obviously my studio's in my home. I have a note on the floor outside now saying do not disturb. That includes the dog.
Does your dog read? Have you told?
No, he can't read, but he's in, because if he stays out, he'll start barking. But what I like about, I've always had a studio. When I left college, I got an award for 3 months free rent in a studio, and it just set me up because I felt when I did my diploma show, I wasn't finished. I had more to explore. So I was able to continue exploring that theme that I'd started in college, and then continued on from there. Now we moved studios into a place that had holes and rain coming in, and I just couldn't take it. So any house I've been in ever since has always had a room for me to work in and paint in. Even though I may have had breaks, you know, one reason or another, children, work, whatever else. And I've been managed to, so we've moved into this house 2017, and I set up in here in the studio more or less, within a few months of settling in. And I did those swimming paintings that I did based on my kids. But the landscape just called me. And then with the lockdown, we weren't going on foreign holidays, they weren't swimming in pools. And I just kept walking and walking and walking. And then I started painting what I was seeing. So
Can you tell us a bit more about your sort of pathway to being an artist? Did you start training like straight out of school? Did you like what's the arc of your
so
career?
I was good enough at art. I'm a very artistic family of cousins who are artists, filmmakers. I have nieces and nephews now who are architects, and one guy is still in college doing video, the gaming, digital stuff. So even on both sides of the family, but it really came out in my generation, to come out. So I went to Art College in Waterford. I did a year certificate there, and then I moved from there to the Crawford. And I did my time there. And I suppose the big moment for me was, maybe struggling a bit with college and social life and all the rest of it. But I loved painting. I loved the physicality of painting. And then we went to Russia for the end of year. I was in my diploma year. I finished my thesis. I said, right, I'm out of here. And it was great fun and lots of drinking, vodka, meeting the locals who shouldn't have been talking to us because Glasnost was on at the time, and it was illegal for them to come into the hotels that we were in and all this kind of stuff. So of course we snuck out with them, went to Red Square, met them, went to their houses, drank with them, went to their pubs, and just really and thoroughly enjoyed the freedom of it. And then I saw Matisse's painting of the dancers in the Hermitage in Leningrad, I think it is, and I was just blown away. I've written it like that. I've said that it was like I didn't have to be representational. My work didn't have to be. This was somebody whose work was barely even no paint on the canvas, even like it was. I still see it up here in my mind's eye. I can't see anything else that was in the building at the time, just that work. And I came home and I just did the most amazing work, all mixed up and confused and drunkenness and faces everywhere, all sorts of styles, Max Beckmann, George Grosz, Chagall, everything was thrown in there. And then I got a distinction for my work at the end of it, which was just superb. It was really brilliant. And then I got the free studio, and then, painted, and then applied for shows. And that's kind of been it. So I think even at the moment, I'm at a stage where, like last summer, I was painting, and I was then during this last lockdown, I was applying for lots of exhibitions, and I did some virtual exhibitions in England and online ones in America, which was just amazing. The virtual one in London, the Holy Art, was just brilliant, holyart.com. And then now I feel I'm just wanting to create work. I don't want to get caught up in submissions at the moment. I want to get a good body of work behind me. I just finished work for the West Cork Arts Creates in Skibbereen. The deadline is this Friday, and I now have a commission that I'm working on, but I have free rein with that, so I can go up there, get what I want. I'm going to produce maybe 5 to 10 paintings and let them have what they want out of it. So that's where I'm at the moment.
And did you ever have a time where you weren't painting, or you felt you couldn't paint, or you?
Yeah, I suppose the kids were small. The recession had hit here in Ireland. The gallery that I had been shown work with was closing. A lot of places, these places I was trying to get into, people weren't buying art, and I just said that's it. And I packed up, and it was, with the 2 kids, it was a bit hard anyway, and teach full time too. So I packed them up, and I kind of said, that's it, never again. And then 2015, my partner died by suicide, and it just jolted everything. It just, there was a massive shift. Obviously, I don't want to be talking about that now today, but what I talk about is my journey afterwards, and my journey for my children afterwards, and the amount of healing. I call it non-verbal healing we did, tapping, craniosacral, kinesiology, integral healing, magnified healing. I became a Reiki master. I had started that journey anyway, but I just continued it because I went for healing with her one day and I just couldn't believe how good I felt afterwards. I was like feeling guilty for feeling good. And I think all of that too has fed back into my work. So before we decided to take decided to leave our house, I had met a healer who said, no, you have to get out of here, because it was an old house, it was stables, there was a ruin on it. He said there's too much history here for you to be holding on here. So I left, I sold it, really luckily sold it. And where was that taking me to? Before I left, like one part of the house had no electricity and no water in it, and I went in there with a sight lamp and torches, and I painted the trees that I saw every morning as I passed by, and they were just, it was like an ode or a parting gift or an expression of something. So I had those started there, and then when I moved into, I had to rent for a while, and I moved in there. I kept painting. I just dabbled away with it. And then when I came in here, I just really found my voice, I think, here in this house. And that was my wish moving forward, that I would find my voice, that I would find a place where that would nurture me and move me forward. And even though it's a tiny studio, it's the smallest I've ever had. It's productive.
And looking at what you just said there about place,
Yeah.
like, you know, reading through the stuff you gave me, I know that you've done a lot of residencies, and you mentioned Australia earlier on, but I know you've also been to Canada and other different places and painted there and experienced the landscape there, and had this interest in people, landscape, ancestry, like that whole thread. And it feels like, I know that currently you're particularly interested in painting trees and the forest, and you know, obviously trees by their nature are very place bound, because their roots go down and they're in that place, and they actually hold the place together, they hold the earth together with their roots, with their presence. And they also do this thing of, well, I always think they're a bit like, this is my crazy poet mind, when you have a sewing machine, and the needle goes down and the thread goes down and then back up and down and back up, that the trees kind of do that between the sky and the earth. They kind of, it's almost like they hold them together and like bring one from the other. So anyway, I'm sidetracking, but
it's very interesting.
It feels like what you're talking about is, there's something about this sense of place that where you are and how you experience that is essential to what you're doing when you're painting.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like the feeling, like, I mean, I could show you a photograph, like, will I show you the PowerPoint? No, well, anyway.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a look at some of your work. Let's do it.
The one in behind was based in the same place as the one up behind it again. And it's like, I went down to Ballycotton, and it was just the darkness of the rocks and the crashing of the waves. And it just came into the work straight away, you know. I came home and I did this painting that's in behind me, the two of them. So sense of place is huge, and water is huge, and the reflections of water is also a big theme of mine as well. So yeah, no, I get that, and I think that kind of the indigenousness of it, and the connectedness to it. I mean, I've flown over the Rocky Mountains, got a train journey through the Rocky Mountains, and I sat in this train. It was a 2-day train journey, and I sat and just
want to do that. Was it the what do they call it? The oh God, what's the name of it?
Can't think of the name of it. It was a good few. 2001, I think I did it, and like,
I've been talking about it for years.
It's brilliant, but like, it's slow. It's very slow. It goes at a slow enough pace. At the start, I thought they'd never kick off, and then you put into a motel for the night. And I went into a shop, and I saw this book on watercolor. It's in there, and I said, oh yeah, that's what I'll do. So I got my stuff out, and I sat on the train the next day. I missed the first day, but it was fine. So the next day I just sat and drew, and the images kept moving, kept changing. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the start of, so it's
Wow.
like the environment sometimes influences you beyond what you could have expected. And that's probably what I like doing as well, that you go somewhere open-hearted, completely open to the situation. And you know, the windows were massive, massive windows.
Yeah,
So you
that's the
go
same one. I
into,
can't think of the name of it, but
yeah,
yours is only 2 days. I know you can do like a 4 or 5 day version.
yeah, 2 days was enough.
Oh, really?
And then like I got into Calgary and I had a friend there and like she just texted me or whatever, emailed me where they were. I landed in this restaurant with all of her friends. It was just, you know, amazing, amazing time. And then I went to the Banff Centre for Creative Arts. I had this massive studio, 40 foot, a drawing of it somewhere as my
Wow.
ideal space. There was a couch there for naps. There was a little kitchenette area. So I just cooked for myself, very simple food. There was a canteen, but I just did my own thing. Went up, I hired a mass big Jeep, went up the mountains, painted on spot in the mountains, and then we did work on them back in the
And
studio.
it's so stunning. Did you go to Lake Louise as well?
Yeah, all of them, Mirror Lake, the whole lot of them, like, and that color of the water, the sea, the from the ice melting a
All the
day.
minerals, isn't it, from the ice? It's
Oh
such a
God,
strange blue. Yeah, it's just
stunning, stunning. So yeah, a sense of places, and I suppose the show in Skibbereen is called Home Ground, so it's based on being in your place, you know.
mm.
And even going for me going to Pillmore was even beyond my 2 kilometers radius. So I was up breaking the law doing that. But I went down there in January and here I'll show you those ones if I can figure out how to
Yeah,
work.
let's get the PowerPoint up and let's go through that and talk about it. And then we actually have a few questions which we may not get through all of them, but we've covered a fair bit of it anyway organically.
Watching the screen.
But let's look at your stuff and then your work. I should send up your stuff.
Okay. That's it. Can you see
There we
that?
are. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, great, great. So what I've included is just some of the ones from the start. These are the figurative ones. This is Darren in the pool, and what I've noticed over doing these ones is I seem to like having an area of high, you know, high drawing, quite,
Mm,
and then this fluidity and this space and this kind of, you know, so it's tying in with the two sides.
yeah.
The same here, you can see the movement in the water,
Mm,
the
mm.
connection between the girls. And these are done from the pool in Spain. And this one is just so Degas, like, you know, with the thing you want. But it was a photograph that I took as well.
Wow.
So, you know, the two girls in the pool, an obscure kind of a view, and then
Mm,
the sea and the water around them. And then this one of Darren, you know, cut off over to
mm.
the side, the teeth, everything drawn well, and then just obscure, you know, kind of semi-abstract painting all the way around it. And it's definitely something that I'm seeing as I'm painting more and more now again at the moment. I'm seeing this technique coming through. So these
So
are 2000 and yeah.
I was going to say, tell me a little bit about when you're painting. What are you trying to do? Like, what is it you're doing when you're like, because hearing you talk about it, the looseness and the tightness, what are you
Mm.
doing when you're painting?
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question. So
It's a
like,
really,
well,
it's a tricky one, I know.
yeah,
Are you trying to capture a moment? Are you
yeah.
trying to follow a feeling? Are you, or none of the above? Or is it something you just can't put into words?
No, it would be both, but I think seeing this a collection of work together, you can see clearly
Mm,
what it's about. So it's capturing the moment, but also maybe there's a spiritual element in it, that there's something else at play. Always like in this one, it's almost like there's a dancer in the sky, which I hadn't seen until close to finish.
wow.
These were Diversions was an exhibition we had in Dungarvan in the Old Market House Arts Centre, and we weren't allowed, we couldn't go on the main road, we had to go on the back road every morning to work. So my Darren be there with the camera taking the pictures and it's tic tac like that. So then I worked from for these ones.
Mm,
And there was a series of those, and then this is a big swim one, a big splash. So yeah, we would be very much capturing the moment, and then more so in these ones capturing the essence of the moment.
wow.
So the boat started in the same place, but this one was then influenced by, so this was Pillmore, and there's more of them in a minute in a different kind of range of colors. So a sunlit moment from David White's poems. I'm robbing his titles. I just love his work. I just love listening to him reading his poetry. It's fantastic. So this was the reeds, the grasses, and then it was wintertime. It was just heard that we were going to be in lockdown. So I thought, right, I'm going down to the beach. I got the paints out and I painted. It was really cold and the sunsets were just unreal. No clouds in the sky, just full lit up sky. And then I wanted to capture that. And then these were me going to the woods. I was doing a creative course and it was just encouraging, get out, draw aside. And this was the bird song. So I'd been doing a blind drawing, and then I did this listening to the bird song and dotting, close my eyes. What do you hear? I hear the bird song and it's tweet, 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 in its basic form. And then the feeling of the trees. So here you can see the bark of the trees and just that whole, it's there, it's enveloping, it's all around. The sky is peeping through. And
it's like you've drawn the life of the woods rather than the woods.
Yeah, absolutely.
These thermal imaging, but it's not like a thermal image. It's like a life, like, where the life is, that's where you've painted.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Joe. And then this was the one I was talking about. Again, painted in Pilmore to start off with, painted in the same place that this one started off being painted. Wow. But then I went to the beach and Ballycotton has the lighthouse there. So it's rocks and it's dramatic and it's, it's water and it just felt so fresh, and I always find, you're in the studio for a while doing the work and then you get out and you just get a blast of inspiration again, and then this is that headland, so there's the headland going down towards it and it's called Fields of Gold. So it's somebody's dream, it's somebody's investment and they're investing in the land. And again, this particular attention to detail in one spot and then maybe not so much in the others. That one probably has more, but I suppose I love the two of them, but maybe moving forward I'm going to have to integrate them in some way. This again, the same place. This is Pilmore with the reeds, and then there's a kind of a watery area that in the full tide the water comes in. So this is called Every Dream Inside My Soul. Was started in Dungarvan, where I'm from, and it was a blend of Helvick Head, where my father was from, and then the Gold Coast was over here, but I just didn't like it and I just kept messing with it. And again, my focus group came in and said, just play, just enjoy it. And I really enjoyed, because this actually says more to me than the representation of what I had drawn earlier.
And do the different colors mean different things to you? Do they represent different things? Do they resonate differently to you?
I suppose yellow was always going to be joy, isn't it? And red is just that attractiveness to it. I've read somewhere that pink is like being able to find your voice and being able to express yourself and be happy with who you are. So I reckon that is why I would put that in there. And there's a lot of texture in this one. There's a lot of texture here, but this one has like a physical texture. So I've used the size of the card.
And you're painting with acrylics?
Acrylics, yeah.
On canvas?
On canvas, yeah. This one actually is on board, but I'm not going to do any more boards. I just think it sucks up the paint too much. And this is on canvas. And they're small, as you can see from behind me, they're small paintings. These are what I'm doing at the moment. I've just finished these. Again, the same place, this Pilmore beach, and then the water that evening just came in. There was an amazing sunset. So again, you can see the attention to detail here with the trees. I wonder, can I zoom in there?
Yeah, I noticed that in the other one you did where you said there was the dancer in the sky. I noticed that detail of the trees and the tree line, and that's something that always strikes me because you're not that far from where I live when I'm in Ireland, so that because there's those soft hills and there's always trees, isn't there, on that skyline? And in the winter they're like, you see the form of them so distinctly. No, I love it. And then these are like a hope of what may come. So it's the idea of somebody planting their maize or corn, whatever it is, and it's the plastic. Now I know it doesn't environmentally, it's probably not great and doesn't look great, but it just attracts me so much. And I wanted
in these ones to get into the perspective another little bit. So when I was down at Pillmore again, the same spot, and you can see the difference of that. So this is Indescribable Wedge of Freedom. In this one, again, David White, thank you very much for the titles. And it's the lagoon as the estuary as it comes in from the sea and it meets the river. And it's just this little wedge, you know, and the reflections of the sky and the colors. And then
can I say, because this thing of going to the same place over and over, but like the different moments are so different. It is like a relationship with a person.
Yeah.
That the more you get to know them, the more variety you find in them, and the more depth, and the more like often people go to a place and oh, this place is like this, or this person is like this.
Yeah.
But your personal relationship with the place, it shows not just your own depth and variety, but the depth and variety of this place. It's alive. It's a living thing. It's a living place.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. No, absolutely. And a few nights recently, I went back down there and I just thought, oh, I'll just see what the sunset is like. And I was raging because I'd no paints, just the camera, you know, because I love sitting there capturing it first. It just makes it so much stronger. But what it struck me was that, well, you know, Monet has done this over time, the same subject matter time and again, and investigating it. And the last night the sky was just blazing red. It was just stunning. And it's just like investigating it and figuring it out and loving it. And the tide was never, every other night the tide was never the same. It was out every time I went back. Wow. So I had to, you know, look for something else, but just the smells, the feelings, the sounds, and it's very quiet down there because it's kind of off the beaten track a little bit. You know?
Can I just say on this one, you can't see where I'm pointing, but the painting on the left, the wedge of freedom, I really, really love the treatment of the yellow portion of the sky in the upper left corner.
Oh, great.
There's something about that I adore. And also the center bottom where you have that section up the top, and the center bottom where you have the red and the orange kind of washes over you've got the very dark, almost like, because there's this thing that happens in the landscape, particularly in Ireland, because we're so far west, where the night has fallen on the ground, but it's still day in the sky.
Yeah.
And I can really feel that in this painting.
That's again, oh my God, you're great. But what I did here was at the end, just on that bit, I don't know, can you see my mouse moving around?
I love that bit.
It was the underpainting. Wow. This was the sketch. This was the bit I did when I went out there first, and I just, oh my God, I love that. And then I was doing these strips. I've attempted it a little bit here. I think you can't see the bottom of that as clearly. The old PowerPoint does seem to cut things off, but I just loved it. So when I'm trying to do these next series, I'm trying to go mind your underpainting and hold it, protect it, because I love the looseness of this, the bare canvas here, and then how heavy and these guys are quite loaded on the top here.
Yeah, I love that. I love that piece.
It's really Thank you. And then the You'll Bring Me Home is a title from Harry Styles. As you can see, I'm influenced by my children's choice of music. My daughter loves music. We have great playlists in the car. I'm listening to Willow at the Will Smith's daughter.
Yeah.
She is just amazing, beautiful violinist playing with her and everything. And You'll Bring Me Home is always like, not necessarily home, but home to myself. You know, these places bring me home to me, to who I am.
It's so funny because when it was cropped, it's read, You'll Bring Me. Couldn't see the HO part. And I thought, that's an amazing title.
Well, maybe I'll change it to that. You'll Bring Me. Yeah, that's probably what I mean.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
And then I just at the end had, I mean, I've loads more work, but I just said I'd do a clip. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing. Even as it pours you a drink, the cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness. and seeing the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are utterably themselves. Everything, everything, everything is waiting for you.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it? I'm just goosebumps.
Whose is that?
This is David White, and he's on YouTube and he reads his workout and he repeats it. Like he would say, the kettle is singing, the kettle is singing, even as it pours you a drink, even as it pours you a drink. You know, he would emphasize words in it. And he has one, a seeming stillness, and you're, you know, about breathing.
He's an Irish poet, right? I think
No, he's
no,
I
that's
think
someone else.
probably some Irish there, but he's English. He's
Yeah, he's English, but if I remember rightly, if he's the person I'm thinking of, his parents were Irish, or one of his parents were Irish. If he's the person I'm thinking of, I'm going to check him out straight
yeah,
after
one of
this.
his parents. Yeah. So that's it. I don't know if you asked me any of the questions. I think I was talking too much.
No, that's brilliant. We do have more questions.
Okay,
So
I'll stop
I don't know
sharing
if you
there.
want to close down the
Yeah.
share so we can see more of you and me. Brilliant. You particularly. I wanted to ask, what does it being an artist mean to you?
It's I love it. It's about spending time alone, being happy in my space, being happy in my head. It's a meditation. It's an excitement, an exhilaration. I was looking at that about being seen for something else, you know, not just a daughter, a parent, a mother. It's been seen for something else. And it's a touching with the spirit world, I suppose, as well, and the unknown. At times you feel like the conduit, you're just, you know, those times when you step back from your work and it just takes over. I love those moments, you know, they're the ones that really, and then at times when I'm painting and I just go, I love this, you know, the way the paint would mix or something would happen.
Like the sensuality of the work.
Sensuality, obviously, yeah. A friend calls me an alchemist with colors, you know, and I love that. Yeah. I feel like I'm a little scientist.
And what would you say is the most difficult thing about being an artist, or what would improve your life as an artist?
Difficulty is the time. It's like a whole other relationship, you know. It takes priority. When I'm painting, it takes priority over everything else. This summer, I'm trying to have more of a balance with that. You know, if the kids want to go to the beach, yeah, sure, we're going to the beach, and yeah, I will go for a swim, and yeah, I might go for a walk when I'm there. Whereas other times I've been going, no, I'm not going anywhere. It's this, and you need the balance of both of them. You know, like I get up in the morning, as I have two teenagers, I don't see them till 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So I know I have a good stretch of the morning before I'm disturbed, and I will use that time to either walk, do yoga, or paint. You know, and it's that, which one do I need to do most today? Do I need to paint most first thing, or do I need to do the yoga so I can paint better or be more focused for the day? Or do I
love that. I love that you do that check-in first to see what it is that you
and do I need to go and walk in the woods and take my sketchbook with me or my paint with me, or do I, as yesterday morning, I just went up to where it's my old house, so where I used to live, and go up there and draw for 3 hours, you know, which I did yesterday morning. So there, how would make my life easier, better? Being able to sell more work so that I could do more, you know, not have to work at another job, a teaching job, which I love and has its own challenges and rewards, which I'm extremely grateful to. But it is exhausting. I would love to be now at this stage of my life painting full time. I think when I was younger, I didn't always have the patience for it. I was always finding something else to stimulate me. But now I would definitely be up for it, you know. I'm looking forward to going back to attend residencies again when the kids are older, and you know, I can leave them on their own and there won't be either a house party or they'll be sad without me, you know, one or the other. So I'm looking forward to that day, and just be able to, you know, go away for a week or 2 weeks, devote myself completely to it. And even, you know, art fairs and stuff, to be able to participate in them, because you have to be present at them. And at the moment, they're just without outside of my grasp because of my situation. And I'm
Yeah,
a
a
good,
friend of mine, when I first went back to being a fine artist, he said to me, "You have to be selfish to be an artist."
yeah, you do, yeah.
And it really hit me, and that's when I was like, okay, so I'm an artist, and this is
Mm.
gonna, it took a period of time, but when my kids were growing up, I actually couldn't do fine art.
I couldn't, no.
It was only after they were pretty much coming to leaving, finishing school and all that, that I was able to go
Yeah.
back to it, because it's like another marriage. It's like the
It is.
commitment level.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, David White has a book on that called The Three Marriages.
Ah,
And I'm trying to read it at the moment. It's a little bit heavier now than his poems, but it talks about the marriage to a relationship marriage, the marriage to work, and the marriage to yourself.
yeah.
You know, and combining. I haven't obviously read all of it yet, but combining it, all. And what else I have, not maybe I'm going off the tangent here, but it just, doing the work as well and doing inquiry on my thoughts has been hugely helpful to.
Katie
Yeah,
Byron's work.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Baron Katie, yeah. So it's
Byron
called.
Katie. Yeah, I always get about. Why is her name back to front? Yeah.
But it's a made
Byron
up name
Katie,
anyway.
sorry.
It's a combination of names, but inquiry into your thoughts. So you have a thought, oh, there isn't enough abundance, or I'm not doing it right, and then is it true, and how do you know it's true, and how do you react when you believe this thought? So it gets you to focus on past and future, and realize that without the thought, who would you be? Oh, I'd be just somebody in the studio painting. So it's about checking in with your story, and then you look at the opposites. There is abundance, whatever it is, so that you can look at the opposites of the story as well. So I've done an awful lot of inquiry into my thoughts, and it's helped me to find my voice better, and to see where I'm going with all of that, and to, even as a parent, finding my voice and noticing my judgments of my children and of myself and my surroundings, and allowing that to go. So it gives me then the freedom to be present when I'm painting.
Well, the last question is, what is the best thing about being an artist?
All of the above. I was looking at Maya Angelou and her notion of, you never know what your legacy is. You never know what you leave behind. And the best thing about being an artist is when someone buys your work and they love it, just love it, and they tell you years later, weeks later, day later, I love it. And every time I walk into the room, it says something different to me, or I see something different in it. And that excitement that somebody else gets when they look at my paintings, or someone has said to me, oh my God, I've been wanting one of your paintings for years, and I've just come into some money and I want to buy your work. So I love sharing that joy. And I think because I've seen such horrors, and I've been down, I've been low, and my work acknowledges that. I feel it does. It acknowledges loss, because there's always the light and the dark in the work. There's always the shadow, the darkness, and then there's always the bright. And I'm an eternal optimist. I can't help myself but be optimistic about life, which is sometimes good. So my work is uplifting, and it uplifts me, and it uplifts those around me, and it gives me a whole different perspective on life. I have walked different places that I would never have walked. I mean, I sat yesterday drawing an old apple tree that's at least over 100 years old. Where else would you be going? It's the beauty of it, and the people I've met along the way. And it always, it allows me, I paint what is true to myself and what's authentic to me as well. And hopefully my light will shine through. And I think also there could be a healing in it for other people,
Yeah.
So,
I feel that about your work. I feel that, all that coming through, kind of magic of the place, and the
magic, yeah.
The depth and that. Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, Sinead, we can't go without. Can you tell us where people can find out more about you, your work, where they can see it, where they can buy it?
So I recently got a grant from the local enterprise office in Cork. Very, very happie about that. So I am presently working on a new website. So my website is www.sineadnichionaola.ie. Maybe we should spell that out there somewhere.
Yeah, spell it out. We'll put it below as well.
Okay,
but spell it out anyway. Just
it's Sinead, SINEAD NICHIONAOLA. sinead.ie. And I'm on Facebook, Sinead Ni Chionaola artist, and Instagram, Sinead Ni Chionaola _ 6 something numbers 082. But you'll find it's there anyway. So what we're hoping with the new website is that I can integrate my Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn together. So when I post once, I'm done. And the website will have prints available, we'll have vouchers available, and easier. It's just going to be lovely. It's going to be really good. So I'm looking forward to that coming through and having a nice successful launch of that.
Fantastic. How long do you think? I mean, obviously, it's a bit like doing building work on your house, and it generally takes longer than you think. But how long do you think until?
Oh, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks. We're very, very close. We've done.
Okay, fantastic. So what we'll do, as soon as you're live or launching, we'll add that link. Like we'll put a note below the interview to say it's now live.
Brilliant. Great. Yeah.
As well.
Great. Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, if people, if people follow you on Instagram or Facebook, then you will let them know also when it's live.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. And have you any shows coming up or not?
West Cork on the 7th of August. The most recent work will be going into that. The purples will be going in there. That's 7th of August, and that'll be on.
I might be over. I'm going to come. Let me know. I'm supposed to be coming on the 24th of July, depending on the whole quarantine situation.
Yeah,
I might be hopefully be out of quarantine. And are you going to go to the private view?
Well, you see, there's no private view, which is a real pain. I know, and I was all excited, and I had B&B booked, but it's just open on the 7th of August. But the work will be on the website for sale through their website. So that will be up on the following week, and that'll be there until Christmas. So yeah.
Great.
Then what else is happening? Just working on this commission, and I'm just putting in for one other submission for a local exhibition as well in Cork City. So on the
can people see the commission progressing, like on your Instagram? Do you share there?
I haven't thought about doing that yet. I think I wanted to get myself a bit more further along the road to see where I'm going with it, because there's a ruin on it, and they have been doing up the ruin. So I've noticed myself circling around it. And I haven't settled into it yet. Like I'm like a cat with its prey. I'm just kind of walking around it, and I paint over here, but I'm avoiding the elephant in the room. So I have to look at how to paint that and how to approach it, So
I think that whole process is really fascinating, and to record that whole process, even the circling, that's like a really integral part. That's like, I can't work, I need to clean up before I work, or you know what I mean, you put on the laundry and whatever, you know what I mean, get the breakfast ready or whatever it is.
And I've been doing big breakfasts for the girls so that I can just have the day then clear on it, not having to feed them. But Mary Cassatt, one of those, American artists, said, I have to have the house spotless before I start painting. And I have been in those humors as well, where the house has to be clean. And then at the moment now it's not, so it's like, it shifts between one and the other. Like, I mean, the weather's been too good to be bothered with housework. Just getting out and enjoying it. But I know I will actually. I will put up what I did yesterday, and I will write about that, and I will put that up. Yeah. Thanks, Joe, for the encouragement.
Pleasure. It's been such a pleasure, Sinead. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's great. Thank you for bringing stuff out of me too, and to recognize things that I was probably doing, but not maybe always acknowledging that I'm doing. So that's great.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the interview, but I won't go just yet. I'm going to stop the recording.
Great.